Well, it's time to look through the papers for you this morning with theologian Vicky Beeching and the broadcaster Iain Lee.
Morning.
Good to see you both this morning.
Good morning.
So, no, I don't think we've had you on together before, have we?
We've done one together, and despite my emails, we're back again.
We're back. Oh, well, I'm surprised.
I complained profusely because I didn't think he was actually that funny, but maybe today.
Let's start off with the front of the Mail on Sunday and this hugely serious story, Vicky. This one girl, Melissa Reid, apparently saying that she will plead guilty now to this drug charge facing her in Peru.
So this is Melissa Reid, one of the two girls who was arrested for allegedly smuggling drugs into Peru, and they're saying that she's going to plead guilty really just to lower her sentence. But if you look at the details of the story, she's saying very clearly that she tried to defend her innocence initially, but that route proved too risky, and she's worried that she'll end up spending years and years in jail. And there's also a very interesting piece on page 5. There's a little diary of her time in jail, and she uses a really strange description. She describes it as a brownie camp with barbed wire, which has definitely raised quite a lot of eyebrows in people that I've spoken to, because it also says it's crawling with insects and it has to be sort of fumigated. But that was the phrase she used, a brownie camp with barbed wire.
It's the Hotel K, isn't it, in Peru, the sort of infamous jail.
I just think if I were innocent, I would say I was innocent. I would fight for my innocence.
I don't know with this, though, because, I mean, she faces, if she was convicted on that ground, she faces 35 years. Yeah. And with this one, she'd get 6 years and be out in 3.
Right.
It's a massive difference,
would you take the gamble?
It just seems so unfair to have to actually, say that you've committed a crime that you haven't.
She is innocent.
Well, is it unfair? I mean, I've not been particularly following this story. We don't know, but is she innocent? You know, is this just swinging the lead to get out? Yes, if she is innocent, then that's unfair. She's going to serve prison time. But if she is guilty of this, and if you smuggle drugs to foreign countries, you know they have quite strict rules in a lot of these countries.
It's tricky, though, because they were claiming that they were trafficked and that they were basically held at gunpoint and forced. And
that's what they do say.
Well,
all of them
I believe them.
Well,
Maybe I'm just gullible, but I believe them. I mean, they said they had documentation on their family, where they lived, that they literally held them at gunpoint and said, "You have to do this."
Well, in one sense, until there is any sort of conviction one way or the other, we have to believe in their innocence, don't we? Even though it's not in our jurisdiction, still we need to afford them that, I guess. Let's have a look at the Independent on Sunday, Iain, because the Lib Dem party conference is underway, but it's all
fun.
It's all joining up with Labour, it would seem. It's what the grassroots want.
I love this. Liberal Democrat members are demanding Nick Clegg make a deal with Labour at the next election. They are demanding to partner up with Labour. I don't think the Lib Dems are in any position to demand anything in the next general election. I'm pretty sure that they're going to be pretty abandoned by a lot of their voters because of the coalition with the Conservatives. So for them to be demanding that they hook up with Labour seems a little bit churlish. What's not mentioned in here, but you've been covering this morning, is the big announcement from the Lib Dem conference is they're going to try and make school uniforms a little bit cheaper. It doesn't sound like... You can hear a collective piece of the nation going, yeah, and it will be important for some people, but I don't... To make that the big selling point of the weekend, school uniforms might be a bit cheap.
They've got the big selling point of the carrier bags, though. I mean, that is quite exciting.
Carrier bags and school uniforms. It's not really going to get people going, oh, that Nick Clegg's back in business. I remember why we liked him 3 years ago. It's all just a little bit disappointing, a little bit, which is what the Lib Dems have become. Now, they might have achieved quite a lot of good things with as being part of the coalition, but most people will have seen Nick Clegg. A lot of people will have seen Nick Clegg as kind of selling out Lib Dem values by going into partnership with the Conservatives.
They're saying that he pushed really hard on the bags, though, that it wasn't... You know, I mean, I think that's quite significant. Environmentally, I think that is significant.
You're right.
If you look at the figures in Wales and Ireland where they've done this.
Lib Dem voters were in. Well done, Nick. You've pushed. You didn't push on the tuition fees, but you pushed on the plastic bags. Well done, you.
I think with the Lib Dems, though, that element of mystery, because sort of nobody quite knew what they'd be like in government. Now they've been sort of tried and tested.
Yes.
They are going to lose out on that factor. They're not the kind of, you know...
Tuition fees is interesting. I mean, this is a survey by Lib Dem Voice, which is the big sort of Lib Dem website with a lot of the activist issues. Scrap tuition fees, 39%. Keep tuition fees, 54%. And that's grassroots now. So they've changed. The grassroots have changed their position on that.
Well, I think they've had to. But you remember 3 years ago, Nick Clegg was, when they had all of those debates, they were on Sky and all the channels, and Nick Clegg was the man, that, you know, that kind of unknown quantity who everyone thought, isn't he wonderful? Isn't he a powerful speaker? And within 3 years, he's pretty much lost that. And I think it's going to be very, very hard for him to get that back, if not impossible.
Let's get romantic this morning.
Oh, Stephen.
No, Vicky, Iain, hard luck. Let's go get romantic and talk about the new Mr. and Mrs. Blair.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So a very heartwarming picture of Iain, 29-year-old Iain, getting married, and a brilliant little photo caption here of him getting kissed by his dad, looking quite awkward, which I love. And it's just quite a happy story, really. And it's interesting, I think, that the wedding is kind of being portrayed as relatively simple. He's not wearing a morning coat, he's just wearing a lounge suit, and they were driven away in a black taxi. So even though they had the ceremony, you know, they've got several mansions, obviously, and there's money going around, I think they're probably trying to portray it as...
Shireen had a nice time.
What's interesting is
caption contest
a lot
waiting
of the
to
other
happen.
papers are picking up on the fact that Sian Lloyd, the weather girl, and the stepmother of the young lady who was getting married was uninvited.
Yes.
I think that's the
Yes. She had an argument
She's
with her daughter.
She's the stepmother, is she?
She's the stepmum, yes.
She
And
is.
so she was invited, then disinvited.
By her own daughter.
By her own daughter, and there's a big furore about that in the newspapers. Families and weddings.
Politics at weddings.
Families, weddings,
Tricky,
and politics
very tricky.
and religion,
Exactly.
all in one. They're always a mess anyway. So
You blame it all
I
on
just
religion.
can't. I just can't believe Ewan's 29. I remember
Yeah.
those drunken antics he had and things.
Yes,
in
I
the,
remember that. Yeah.
I remember I worked on a program. We used to have those little slugs, you called them, the comments in the corner, and someone put Ewan Who's Army. Who was going to take him on, which I just thought was very
I
grown
mentioned
up.
that when it's the first thing you think of when you think of Ewan Blair, isn't
Yeah.
it? Or at least the second thing you think of him slumped in, I think it was Leicester Square, or boozed up as a
Maybe
young
not
man.
now, though. Maybe now we'll think of him as a reliable, respectable
No, I'm
married
going to
man.
think of him now as having heavy eyebrows. That's how I'm going to... Very heavy eyebrows.
You've got a cruel streak,
Being
you really.
kissed
I
by
wish
his
them the
dad.
best of luck. Look at that. Getting married is nice, isn't
Yes.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to them.
Lovely. Look how romantic we get.
Aw.
We're going to leave it there for the time being and talk about more things which are sort of romantic in just a moment.
Excuse me,
13-year-old
sorry.
daughter.
Exactly. He's excited.
No, it's
Because
probably
we're
that's
about
right.
to talk about One Direction.
So what has she done that's frankly utterly bonkers?
So, right, yeah, she's 47 and she has 20 tattoos and has spent £350 on these 20 tattoos, and they are all tributes to the band One Direction. So she's both copied tattoos that the boys have. So those are the same birds that Harry's got on his chest. She's got all of their signatures, their birth dates, the band logo on her wrist, and her 13-year-old daughter is also a fan, but she spent 10 hours being inked up, and she's just completely and utterly into the band. My question is, what on earth is she going to think in a few years' time when they've plummeted and everybody's saying who were One Direction? It's going to be a bit awkward for
Why
her.
have her children allowed her to do this?
I don't
My
know.
kids would be so embarrassed.
One of my other questions is, has she allowed her children to do this? I hope not. I mean, her 13-year-old probably doesn't have any tattoos, but
I hope not.
yeah,
I
20
just don't know,
tattoos.
is the 13-year-old daughter not totally embarrassed by it? I think
Apparently
I
they
would be.
camp out together to get
Oh,
good seats at the
God.
concert.
Oh, get a life.
In some sense, she's like your dream mother. You
No,
know?
she's not. She's a nice, I'm sure she's a wonderful lady. Get a life. Get a life, both of you. Come on.
There she is with her daughter.
13
Wow.
and 47 there. Good for them.
Well, the
Apparently one-
daughter says, I think some of my mum's tattoos are really awful, but some of them are kind of cool.
Yeah. She likes the signatures, but
Yeah,
hates
this
the
is the
I
stare.
can imagine you did. Let's talk about more crazy.
Well,
though.
look, I think this could be the same woman. Look, this is... I can top your One Direction fan. At least they're a proper band who've had some hits. This woman...
Wow.
this is a great headline. I risked heading Deadwood to go see Jedward. What a great line. This
Amazing.
woman is Juliet Barrable. She postponed a life-saving kidney transplant to see the Shockhead Pop Twins in concert. She's 49. She was given the update after being told she faced death from end-stage renal disease, but she told doctors to get knotted, basically. I'm off to a Jedward concert. I can't have the kidney operation. It'll just have to wait.
Amazing.
And, She's now had it done. I suspect that she's even sadder. Sorry, I suspect she's even more dedicated than your One Direction fan.
That is pretty dedicated.
Yeah.
I love that it says at the end, the doctor said it's one of the more unusual requests we've had for the delay of an operation.
Yeah.
Yeah, again.
And apparently she
totally
nearly
bonkers.
danced herself to death. That's the other quote I thought was quite
Ending up in a
worrying.
wheelchair because she felt so ill.
Oh, no.
I wish all of these people... Isn't the world a better place because of fruitcakes like these women?
I'm not entirely convinced that that's true. We shall see you all later on. Let's get a check on the sport now.